Yoruba. Uh-oh. Okay, let's get this together here. Okay. All right, beautiful people. All right, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It is, oh my gosh, y'all, it is almost May. Today is April 27th, 2020, day 131 of reading through Yahuwah's instruction and his prophets who reiterated his word. All right, y'all. We are reading 2 Chronicles 27, 28, and 29 today. Let me check my volume. Sometimes I forget to check it. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll get right to the reading today. 2 Chronicles 27. It's a pretty fast reading today, too. All right, so let's get started. 2 Chronicles chapter 27. Jotham was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, according to all that his father Uzziah did. Howbeit, he entered not into the temple of Yahuwah, and the people did yet corruptly, meaning they continued in their evil ways. He built the high gate of the house of Yahuwah, and on the wall of Ophel he built much. Moreover, he built cities in the mountains of Judah, and in the forest he built castles and towers. He fought also with the king of the Ammonites and prevailed against them. And the children of Ammon gave him the same year 100 talents of silver, and 10,000 measures of wheat, and 10,000 of barley. So much did the children of Ammon pay unto him, both the second year and the third. So Jotham became mighty, because he prepared his ways before Yahuwah his God. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham, and all the wars and his ways, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. Remember, those are two separate books. It's the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah. And he was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And Jotham slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. 2 Corinthians chapter 28. Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. But he did not that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, like David his father. For he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and made also molten images for Baalim. Baalim are multiple gods. And remember, the kings of Israel, remember, it's still our tribes, but remember, it's the 10 tribes, but they had completely went apostate, with the exception of maybe a couple scattered within them. They completely went apostate against Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands. And they began to war against their brethren, the other two tribes, which are the kings of Judah. So you had Israel and Judah. But it's one family. It's just a big family split, if you forgot. All right. For he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and made also molten images for Baalim. Moreover, he burned incense in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and burnt his children in the fire. And after the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahuwah had cast out before his children of Israel. Before the children of Israel. He sacrificed also, and burnt incense in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. Wherefore Yahuwah his God delivered him into the hand of the king of Syria, and they smote him, and carried away a great multitude of them captive, and brought them to Damascus. And he was also delivered into the hand of the king of Israel, who smote him with a great slaughter. For Pekah, the son of Remaliah, slew in Judah 120,000 on one day, which were all valiant men, because they had forsaken Yahuwah, the God of their fathers. And Zikri, a mighty man of Ephraim, slew Manasseh, the king's son, and Azrikam, the governor of the house, and Elkanah was next to the king. And the children of Israel carried away captive of their brethren 200,000 women, sons, and daughters, and took also away much spoil from them, and brought the spoil to Samaria. But the prophet of Yahuwah was there, whose name was Oded, and he went out before the host and came to Samaria, and said unto them, Behold, because Yahuwah, the God of your fathers, was wroth with Judah, he hath delivered them into your hand, and ye have slain them in a rage that reacheth up to heaven. And now ye propose to keep under the children of Judah and Jerusalem for bondmen and bondwomen unto you, but are there not with you, even with you, sins against Yahuwah your God? Now hear me therefore, and deliver these captives again, which you have taken captive of your brethren, for the fierce wrath of Yahuwah is upon you. Then certain of the heads of the children of Ephraim, Azariah the son of Johanan, Berechiah the son of Meshillemoth, and Jehikiah the son of Shallum, and Amasai the son of Hadalah, stood up against them that came from the war, and said unto them, Ye shall not bring in the captives hither, for whereas we have offended against Yahuwah already, ye intend to add more to our sins and to our trespass, for our trespass is great, and there is fierce wrath against Israel. And remember, Yahuwah always, when Judah, well, they were the only ones at the time, when Judah was keeping the commands of Yah, if anybody came up against them, Yahuwah would deal with them. So that's what they were saying. They said, listen, y'all need to let Judah go, because we already got enough sins piled up against us, and you are doing even more by holding them captive. You're going to bring the fierce wrath of Yah down on our head. We already in rebellion against him. Why you gonna go take the good sons and daughters and bring them in here? He's surely gonna come in here and get us. So he's like, look, y'all need to let every single last, let them go. Send them back home. That's what it was pretty much saying. And they knew they was in rebellion against y'all. They knew it. So the armed men left the captives and the spoil before the princes and all the congregation. And the men which were expressed by name rose up and took the captives, and with the spoil clothed all that were naked among them, and arrayed them, and shod them, and gave them eat and drink, and anointed them, and carried all the feeble of them upon their asses, and brought them to Jericho, the city of palm trees, to their brethren. And they returned to Samaria. So they got a clue. Betswabu, they got a clue. They listened to the prophet, and they took all the captives. They cleaned them up. They put clothes on them. They fed them. They gave them something to drink. They took all the ones that was too weak to walk at this time. They put them upon their own asses, and they took them back, and they left. At that time did King Ahaz send unto the kings of Assyria to help him. For again the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives. The Philistines also had invaded the cities of the low country and of the south of Judah, and had taken Beth Shemesh and Ajalon and Gederoth and Shoko with the villages thereof, and Timnah with the villages thereof, Gimzo also and the villages thereof, and they dwelt there. For Yahuwah has brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel. For he made Judah naked and transgressed sore against Yahuwah. And Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, came unto him and distressed him, but strengthened him not. For Ahaz took away a portion out of the house of Yahuwah, and out of the house of the king, and out of the princes, and gave it unto the king of Assyria, but he helped him not. And in the time of his distress, he trespassed yet more against Yahuwah. This is that King Ahazias. Who is that in there? Who is that in there beside you? All right, go sit down. I'll put the code in a second.
Yesterday, it was delicious.
Oh, very good. I'm glad you liked it. Okay, back up, y'all. And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house of Yahuwah, and cut in pieces the vessel of the house of Yahuwah, and shut up the doors of the house of Yahuwah. And he made him altars in every corner of Jerusalem, and in every several city of Judah he made high places to burn incense unto other gods, and provoked to anger Yahuwah, the God of his fathers. Now the rest of his acts and all his ways, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And Ahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city, even in Jerusalem. But they brought him not into the sepulchres of the kings of Israel. And Hezekiah his son reigned in his stead. Last chapter for today, y'all. 2 Chronicles chapter 29. Hezekiah, and also remember the prophet Isaiah lived during this time, because we'll see him praying for King Hezekiah. We'll also hear about King Hezekiah when we get to the book of Isaiah. So remember, the prophets back here, you will hear their names throughout here, because this is when they live, and they point out to who the kings to whom they were assigned to. So each king, every ruling king, Yahuwah had a certain prophet, sometimes a couple prophets assigned to them, so when they got off track or they stopped following Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands, because remember, each king, when they took the throne, they were to personally write out their own copy of the law, which given by the Levites were to supply them a copy of the law. The kings were to write a full copy and keep it on them at all times, and they were to study it day and night, so that they would lead Yahuwah's people according to his law, statutes, and commands, so they wouldn't lead them into sin. Some of the kings we see did not do that, and they caused the entire nation of Yahuwah's people to sin. So, and when they did that, they got off track. They didn't listen to the priests. They sidestepped the instructions. Yahuwah sent the prophets. And when they didn't listen to the prophets, or they had them stoned, murdered, thrown in jail, Yahuwah brought judgment from other nations to chastise them, since they refused to listen. He said, because you reject knowledge, because you refuse to listen, I am going to reject you and your children. And that still stands today, beautiful people. So that's why we're reading you Yahuwah's law, statutes, and his command, his instructions, because it is everlasting, and he's renewing this covenant with his people, which a lot of people don't realize because they don't read it, which is exactly why we are reading it together every single day. And we'll continue doing this as long as we can do this, so you guys will know. All right. And Hezekiah began to reign when he was 25 years old, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Abijah, the daughter of Zechariah. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, according to all that David his father had done. He, in the first year of his reign, in the first month, opened the doors of the house of Yahuwah and repaired them. And he brought in the priests and in the Levites, and gathered them together into the east street. And he said unto them, Hear me, ye Levites, sanctify now yourselves, and sanctify the house of Yahuwah, the God of your fathers, and carry forth the filthiness out of the holy place. For our fathers have trespassed, and done that which was evil in the eyes of Yahuwah our God, and have forsaken him, and have turned away their faces from the habitation of Yahuwah, and turned their backs. Also they have shut up the doors of the porch, and put out the lamps, and have not burned incense, nor offered burnt offerings in the holy place unto Yahuwah, the God of Israel. Wherefore the wrath of Yahuwah was upon Judah and Jerusalem, and he hath delivered them into trouble, to astonishment and to hissing, as ye see with your eyes. And this is the same thing we read also in Deuteronomy. He said, if this would happen, if we would turn away from him, he would deliver us up unto the other nations, and we will be a byword, and people will hiss at us. Will be a hissing and an astonishment to people, like, Yah, these are Yah's people. He has completely forsaken them. And some people still think we are forsaken of our master, and we are not. He is gathering us from all four corners to where we were scattered. Wherefore the wrath of Yahuwah was upon Judah and Jerusalem, and he hath delivered them to trouble, to astonishment, and to hissing, as ye see with your eyes. For lo, our fathers have fallen by the sword, and our sons and our daughters and our wives are in captivity for this. Now it is mine heart to make a covenant with Yahuwah, the God of Israel, and that his fierce wrath may turn away from us. My sons, be not now negligent, for Yahuwah hath chosen you to stand before him, to serve him, and that ye should minister unto him and burn incense. Then the Levites arose, Mahath the son of Amasai, and Joel the son of Azariah, of the sons of the Kohathites, and of the sons of Merari. Hey, gentlemen. Thank you. Yeah, I know you're talking, but you're talking loud. Isaiah and Joshua, tone it down. Kish, the son of Abdi, and Azariah, the son of Jehaleel, and of the Gershonites, Joah, the son of Zimmah, and Eden, the son of Joah. And of the sons of Elisaphan, Shimri and Jael. And of the sons of Asaph, Zechariah and Mattaniah. And of the sons of Heman, Jahiel and Shimei. And the sons of Jeduthun, Shemaiah and Uzziel. And they gathered their brethren and sanctified themselves, and came according to the commandment of the king, and by the words of Yahuwah, to cleanse the house of Yahuwah. And the priests went into the inner part of the house of Yahuwah to cleanse it, and brought out all the uncleanliness that they found in the temple of Yahuwah in the court of the house of Yahuwah. And the Levites took it to carry it out abroad into the brook Kidron. Now they began on the first day of the first month to sanctify, and on the 8th day of the month came they to the porch of Yahuwah, so that they sanctified the house of Yahuwah in 8 days. And in the 16th day of the first month they made an end. Then they went in to Hezekiah the king and said, We have cleansed all the house of Yahuwah, an altar of burnt offering with all the vessels thereof, and a showbread table with the vessels thereof. Moreover, all the vessels which King Ahaz in his reign did cast away in his transgression have we prepared and sanctified, and behold, they are before the altar of Yahuwah. Then Hezekiah the king rose early and gathered the rulers of the city, and went up to the house of Yahuwah. And they bought 7 bullocks, and 7 rams, and 7 lambs, and 7 he-goats for a sin offering for the kingdom, and for the sanctuary for Judah. And he commanded the priests, the sons of Aaron, to offer them on the altar of Yahuwah. So they killed the bullocks, and the priests received the blood and sprinkled it on the altar likewise. When they had killed the rams, they sprinkled the blood upon the altar. They killed also the lambs, and they sprinkled the blood upon the altar. And they brought forth the he-goats for the sin offering before the king of the congregation, and they laid their hands upon them. And the priests killed them, and they made reconciliation with their blood upon the altar to make an atonement for all of Israel. And for the king commanded that the burnt offering and the sin offering should be made for all Israel. And he set the Levites in the house of Yahuwah with cymbals, with psalteries, and with harps, according to the commandment of David, and of Gad the king's seer, and Nathan the prophet. For so was the commandment of Yahuwah by his prophets. So King David had a seer and he had a prophet. Remember, seers are all the times prophets, but prophets are not all the times seers. So he had 2. He had Nathan the prophet, and he also had Gad the seer. So Gad was a seer and a prophet, and we know Nathan, he was simply just a prophet. He may have had visions, but it doesn't point it out that he does. But Gad, when there was a vision, it was Gad that came and told the king. I'll read that again, verse 25 of 2 Chronicles 29. And he set the Levites in the house of Yahuwah with cymbals, with psalteries, and with harps, according to the commandment of David, and of Gad the king's seer. And remember, seer is someone who sees visions, and they have dreams and stuff. That's what they're talking about. And Nathan the prophet, for so was the commandment of Yahuwah by his prophets. And the Levites stood with the instruments of David, and the priests with the trumpets. And Hezekiah commanded to offer burnt offerings upon the altar. And when the burnt offering began, the song of Yahuwah began also with the trumpets and with the instruments ordained by David, king of Israel. Greetings, Uncle Nathaniel. And all the congregation worshiped, and the singers sang, and the trumpeters sounded, and all this continued until the burnt offering was finished. And when they had made an end of offering, the king and all that were present with him bowed themselves and worshipped. Moreover, Hezekiah the king and all the princes commanded the Levites to sing praise unto Yahuwah with the words of David and of Asaph the seer. And they sang praises with gladness, and they bowed their heads and worshiped. Asaph was there as well, So matter of fact, when you probably remember the name, if you've ever heard it, when you get to the Psalms, we'll see a psalm or a song of Asaph. Asaph was a seer too, but he also sung songs. So let me, if you don't realize this, okay, so the Levites, those who are doing praise and worship, they technically should be Levites. for the proper structure and to bring in the true presence of Yah, the right people need to be in the right places. And I know a lot of times today, a lot of us may not technically know who we are or the tribe we descend from. Some people, they just like to fill a space. They love to worship Yah. Then we get in there and do it. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but if you're looking for the presence of Yah to show up, I think the right people should be in the right place. And because a lot of people may not know, I think that's something that should be handled in prayer and definitely with fasting, to make sure you hear clearly from Yah on who needs to be on the praise and worship team, who needs to be in the pulpit. I mean, technically the Levites should fill those places, because those are the ones whom Yahuwah has sanctified and set apart to fill those positions. The Levites are the ones that go in and it's kind of taught a little backwards. Yeah, from how I see it and understand it now, it's taught backwards. A lot of people think the pastors and stuff are in there. Yeah, you're teaching the people, but they should be Levites. But Yahuwah said the Levites minister to him. So if you understand your role, if you are a Levite, if you're a descendant, you're a blood-born Levite, a lot of people know. A lot of people, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, some may know, some don't. But your position is to minister unto Yah. You get instructions from Yah and you teach the people. Levites are to teach the people as well, but they also minister to him, and also they should be the ones handling the praise and worship, because they bring in the presence of Yah. If you've ever felt the true, authentic presence of Yahuwah without all the smoke screens and all the other stuff and the fake smoke, it's because the proper people are in the right place. And they might not even know. They just could be led to do it, and they may have been led right. I mean, if they're in prayer and fasting, you can tell. If you listen to any kind of worship music, you can tell music, even it may have been recorded years ago, but there is some music that the presence of Yah is on. Every time, it never fails. It don't matter if the song is 10, 20, 30, 40 years old, or if it was just done yesterday. You can tell music that has been recorded from somebody that has submitted themselves to Yah, and his presence is there, because it goes in there and it stays in there, so that's how you can see. So verse 30, moreover, Hezekiah the king and the princes commanded the Levites to sing praise unto Yahuwah with the words of David and Asaph the seer, and they sang praises with gladness, and they bowed their heads in worship. How does one determine if he or she is or isn't? That's something that has to be revealed to you by Yah himself, or you can take DNA tests. I mean, but I don't recommend that you take DNA tests from everywhere, because some it depends. Like, seriously, if you're in really good relationship with Yah and you can hear clearly from him, that's what I would tell people. But I've also gotten DNA tests, and I've gotten them from a few different places, but you got to be careful with the results, because some doesn't necessarily line up with what you truly are. But the DNA tests that I have line up with what Yahuwah has already been showing me over the course of my life, so that's what I would say. For those who know Yah, I just ask him, and he'll begin to, if you are, he'll point out clues and stuff. And some people may not even care. They don't care. I actually cared. I wanted to know, so I know about me. I'm not sure about everybody else, but I know about my immediate family. That I do know. Hence why I'm here. Then Hezekiah answered and said, now you have consecrated yourselves unto Yahuwah. Come near and bring sacrifices and thank offerings into the house of Yahuwah. And the congregation brought in sacrifices and thank offerings, and as many as were of a free heart burnt offerings. And the number of burnt offerings which the congregation brought was 70 bullocks, 100 rams, and 200 lambs. All these were for a burnt offering unto Yahuwah. And the consecrated things were 600 oxen and 3,000 sheep. But the priests were too few, so that they could not flay all the burnt offerings. Wherefore their brethren, the Levites, did help them till the work was ended, and until the other priests had sanctified themselves. For the Levites were more upright in heart to sanctify themselves than the priests. And also the burnt offerings were in abundance, with the fat of the peace offerings and the drink offerings for every burnt offering. So the service of the house of Yahuwah was set in order, and Hezekiah rejoiced, and all the people that and Hezekiah rejoiced, and all the people that Yahuwah had prepared the people, for the thing was done suddenly. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. It is Monday, April the 27th, 2020, day 131 of reading through the instructions of Yahuwah as confirmed by the prophets, the book of the law and the prophets, or the book of instruction and the prophets, better known as the Old Testament, or should be known as Yahuwah's covenant, period. We read 2 Chronicles 27, 28, and 29. I hope you got to listen to all of it. If not, you can go back and read it on your own time, or if you want to hear me talk, you can listen to me or put it on your Bible app and listen to them read it to you. Either way, just get it in you, understand it, and live by it. Walk by Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands, y'all. All right, so with that being said, I ain't gonna run my mouth. Gotta get moving. So let's do this blessing, which is found in, you got it, Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Yahuwah said, I'm going to just read it. I'm going to read it. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise you shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And Yahuwah said, They shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. So Yahuwah said, this is how you are to bless my people. You bless them this way. You bless them this way. I myself am going to come and bless them. So, y'all, I love y'all. And I see you bright and early in the morning. Peace.